Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
It's time for the Sports Blitz, the only live-streamed local sports show in Arkansas with all the latest on the sports stories that matter to you.
Today on the Sports Blitz, we look through the smokescreen to tell you who we believe Arkansas's next head football coach will be, maybe for the 10th time so far. We'll look at local high school basketball. We'll recap the weekend, look at the bowl overview, all the games that are going to take place in the bowl season. Plenty on today's show.
Live from the River Valley Leader Studio, here are your hosts, Mark Freeman and Weldon Braxton.
Welcome in, Sports Blitzers. Got a packed out show for you today. Mark Freeman, Weldon Braxton in the RiverValleyLeader.com studios. And Weldon, the hits just keep on coming as far as coaching candidates for the Arkansas Razorback football job. Just plenty of stuff that has come across the wire in the last 24 hours. But since we've been on Friday, we've gone through a couple different names, and we just got to sift through some of it together. And that, I talked to somebody last night, and it seems like that's going to be our biggest job for the next few days, is to try to help people just sift through and tell who to believe, who not to believe, and where to stand until Jeff Long makes a decision.
I'll tell you what, Mark. First thing, I'm tired of people playing reporter. That's the number one issue. When I say playing reporter, clearly I'm not talking about responsible journalists. I'm talking about people who want to be that guy who names the head coach even before Jeff Long names him. And I say that this week because this is when the coaching search, not only at Arkansas, but around the country, really heats up. You had some names, you had some different coaching movement. We'll get into that a little bit around the country, but regular season's done. Big 12 coaches have been linked all over the place. Their regular season is done. This is when things happen at Arkansas, Tennessee, Auburn, and when things get warmer, that's when the rumors increase even more. But, Mark, I know you're ready, and I'm ready for this coaching search to be over. Let's get somebody in here calling the hogs.
The coaching carousel is one huge part of today's show, things that we'll hit here in just a little bit. It's coming across Twitter within the last hour that Missouri offensive coordinator David Yost resigned after spending 12 years. Yeah, she did. No, she's the one that looks just like the kicker from The Replacements. Yeah. If you've never seen that picture, you got to go Google David Yost and then the kicker from The Replacements. It's uncanny how much they look alike. We're going to follow, I've looked at Twitter, and for those of you that follow me on Twitter last night, you saw how we got trolled. We really got trolled last night by a guy who, and I didn't say that I necessarily believed it, but I thought, wow, because somebody apparently created a fake Twitter account by a Boise State quarterback and came out and said that he thanks Coach Peterson for all he's done. He wishes him the best in his future endeavors, and basically just said Chris Peterson's gone. Didn't say where, but he's going somewhere, and all signs point to that not being the case as far as this Twitter account being the quarterback for Boise State. So we're back to square one. But one thing we can tell you is that it's not going to be Les Miles. He took the money and ran, really. I don't know that there actually really was an offer for him out by the University of Arkansas, but he got a raise from LSU, got an extension, and James Franklin is now off the table as well. He was rumored to be the Arkansas choice, and guys like Clay Travis, who I've lost every bit of what little respect I had for him within the last couple of weeks, the way he's talked about Arkansas fans, which I've said my fair share about Arkansas fans and the things that I think about some of them, but he won't stop. And he's kind of made it his goal, it seems like, to run down the Arkansas fan base and the Arkansas program. And I think a lot of it's to fuel his own agenda that he's a Tennessee guy. And he wants Vanderbilt and Tennessee to be better off than Arkansas. So he said that Arkansas kept coming back with higher offers for James Franklin, and James Franklin just shut him down. Here in just a little bit, Weldon, I think we're going to dig into some things that I heard last night that seem to refute that.
Yeah, things you don't want to miss. And, when it comes to the whole Clay Travis deal, and obviously he was the big talk on Twitter with Arkansas fans getting into it with people, I really couldn't care less about him. What I'm looking at, though, with this whole deal is James Franklin. Not really surprised that he stayed at Vanderbilt. As the week went on last week, I started feeling more and more as if he wanted to stay at Vanderbilt. There are some things he wanted to see from that Vanderbilt athletic department. Obviously, commitment to facilities and investing more in the football program. And certainly when you look at the job he's done at Vanderbilt, he has earned the right to request those things. And it looks like Vanderbilt, they're more than willing to meet what he wants. So things will get done with him in the school.
Just a whole lot of stuff that we have to get to today. We'd be remiss if we didn't mention the tragedy that took place with the Kansas City Chiefs on Saturday. It was horrific. Just for those of you that haven't heard, player murder-suicide where he killed his girlfriend and child's mother and then went to the Chiefs facility and shot himself as well. Just an awful turn of events there in Kansas City. And, the Chiefs went on to play and win. Just wow. Well, there's not a whole lot you can say about that kind of weekend and just the emotional roller coaster that the Kansas City Chiefs have been on. We definitely want to wish the families of those who are without loved ones today the best and send our condolences that way. But it was just an odd weekend all around.
It really was, Mark. And the situation with Javon Belcher, the linebacker for the Chiefs, it was just surprising. It came through Saturday morning, and you just highlighted the details of how he took the life of his girlfriend, then went to the facility in front of Scott Pioli and Romeo Crennel. They're trying to talk him down. He takes his own life. And there's so many ways you can look at it. I tend to be more sympathetic to that child. That's the number one issue I think about. I know, here on this show, we're sports only, but to think that sports and life don't intersect at times would be naive. And I think this is one of those issues where as soon as it happened, I didn't think about the Chiefs, didn't think about whether or not they would play, thought about that child losing both of his parents just within a 10-minute span. Absolutely tragic.
It's pretty awful. We'll look later at the NFL week that was. We'll preview what's coming up, and Wednesday we will give you our power rankings as we always do. We've asked today on the Honda of Russellville poll question, which bowl game is the most intriguing matchup? Which game do you look most forward to? And then also I've asked another question. This is about the coaching search. Obviously, everybody in Arkansas has something to say, has an opinion on the coaching search. We've got answers pouring in already.
Great.
I said coaching rumors are heating up. Who do you believe Arkansas will wind up hiring? And a better question, would you rather have Gruden at possibly $6 million a year, which has been rumored, or Chris Peterson from Boise State at $5 million a year, which is a little closer to what is being rumored on that side? Granted, we don't know for sure the numbers for either one of them or if either one of them are even interested. So this is just hypothetical. Here on the Sports Blitz, we don't claim to have all these different sources and things like that. I will quote somebody here in just a little bit that I think is sort of credible, and it sounds like it's legit, but we don't know anything firsthand. We don't know if there are more than a handful of people in the world who do know firsthand from Jeff Long. I've actually got an email into him. We'll see if he answers. I'm waiting with bated breath for Jeff Long to answer my email. But we're going to dig into that today. We encourage you to go to facebook.com/sportsblitz or facebook.com/RVLnews to get in on the discussion, and we thank you in advance for doing so. You can also give us a call at 968-NEWS. Let us know what you're thinking, 968-6397. We love to have you on today to tell us what you think about the coaching search and to give us your opinion on how it's gone so far. It's just been so tight-lipped, Weldon. Jeff Long has not been saying anything, and I kind of like it because at the end, I'll take stock of this, look back and say, all right, this guy I can trust, this guy I'm never listening to again.
Right.
This guy I believe, this guy has no clue what he's talking about.
I just, this morning I was thinking about the whole art and process of a coaching search. And, you look at now that Twitter's in full effect, came through around 2009 is when Twitter became big. And we've had the basketball coaching search since then, but basketball searches never really moved the needle the way a good football search does, especially under the circumstances that Arkansas is in the SEC. A lot of pressure on this hire to compete with Les Miles, Nick Saban, and even Kevin Sumlin at this point. I think Twitter, social media, it's just made coaching searches go from a good gossip session to just being an all-out war zone of things that you can and cannot believe. It blows my mind. There's something coming across the wire on Twitter. It seems like every 10 minutes about a rumor. Somebody flew here. Somebody picked up officials from this school and drove them somewhere. It is just crazy. But, Mark, it looks like we're coming close to an end. I like our poll question. I want to chime in on that later because, to me, it's not even close who I'm picking between Chris Peterson and John Gruden. This is not even close.
Well, we'll definitely get to it here in just a little bit. We're interested to know what you think. This is your show, so you just let us know what you want us to talk about. We're going to start with local sports. Thank you to the Rack Furniture Warehouse, our local sports sponsor. They make it possible. Feel free to email me, mark@rivervalleyleader.com, with any stats and information that you have from your local team. We've got a couple of them that have come in since we last mentioned that. Pottsville coaches do a really good job. Clarksville and Dardanelle do as well, sending in their information. But I've got parents from Pottsville and from Danville who have been able to share with us information about their little tykes. Well, I say they're little tykes, mostly junior high and high school kids that are doing well in basketball. So we'll pass those along. The first bit of information, if you can see me glowing here, is that the Clarksville Panthers won the Hurricane Classic in Jonesboro. I'd be honest with you, Jonesboro has beaten Clarksville the last 3 times they've played over the past 2 years, and has just been a thorn in Clarksville's side because their guards are very good, and that's Clarksville's strength as well. Well, Clarksville was able to beat Jonesboro in the finals of their own tournament on their home floor by 25 points on Saturday. I'll be honest, Weldon, I didn't believe the score when I heard it was 67-42 Clarksville. I thought you must have got that score backwards.
Yeah, I mean, this is a game that I really would have liked to have seen because, as you mentioned, Jonesboro's guards, I mean, that's really the strength of that team, and they have some size at those guard positions, something that Clarksville doesn't have. But you just look at, we mentioned last week, Clarksville goes to Forest City. The conditions were less than optimal as far as guys getting sick, guys getting hurt, eating fast food, pretty much every meal. And then they get the chance to recuperate. They go to Jonesboro. I imagine everybody's healthier, feeling a lot better, and they go beat a team like Jonesboro. I mean, if you're in Class 5A, and you're Harrison, and you're some of these other people, Alma, and you think you've got a chance, you had to look at that Clarksville-Jonesboro score and be like, if you're a coach, you're probably saying, I'm not going to tell my kids about this one because you've got to face this team twice this year, and you better have some size. You better be able to take care of the ball because if not, you're in trouble. I'm
very proud to watch these Clarksville Panthers and know that they're just good. There's just no other way to say it. They are a very talented team. Dedrick Lee with 25 points in the championship game. Devin Sims with 24 points in the championship game. Jonesboro shot 30% in the game. Clarksville shot 66% in the game. I asked Coach Davis. I sent him a text message and asked him, how in the world did you guys beat Jonesboro like that? And he said, we guarded the heck out of them. He didn't mention that they shot 66%. He was proud of the fact that they guarded Jonesboro the way they did, and that's what's going to be Clarksville's calling card this season. If you haven't watched the Panthers play, if you're a Cyclone fan or a Apaches or Sand Lizards or Pirates fan, and you haven't watched Clarksville play, you owe it to yourself. If your team's away and you can't go watch them because they're way off in Boonville or whatever, go watch the Panthers play. Whether they play at Morrilton or whether they play at Clarksville, those are the only close games that they'll have. You need to go watch them play at some point. Another team you need to go watch play, the Russellville Cyclones, new and improved. They're back with, I don't know how in the world they're reloaded after last year when they got to the state semifinals in 6A. All those seniors gone, no Gray Harris, no Jordan Barrett, Eric Turner, all those guys gone. And they're just reloaded. 3-2 on the season. They get third place in the Missouri tournament that they went and played in last week. 67-62 winners in their third-place game. So congratulations to the Cyclones. They play in the Cyclone Classic starting Thursday. They'll be at home here in Russellville, 8:30 against Sylvan Hills, while the girls play in the Morrilton tournament. Their first game will be against Clarksville. So looking forward to watching the Cyclones play on Thursday. Weldon, I don't know how they've done it, but we know Coach Mann's a good coach. We know that they've got talent there in the Russellville school system as far as athletics go. They seem to win everything, so it's not a surprise that they're pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, you look, they've got good players. Obviously, guys like Andy Campbell and Dakota Young, of course. Kentrell Scott as a 10th grader giving them some help, and they've just reloaded. I mean, there's going to be some struggles. They played in this Missouri tournament. The host team played them pretty well, had a chances to win that ball game, came up short. But this is a Russellville team that I think a lot of people are underestimating them because of what they lost. And certainly they lost some good players, but I think they've got a good group that'll be fun to watch with Coach Mann. And it'll be interesting to see what they do in 6A. Of course, you've got Little Rock Hall with Bobby Portis in this conference. So you'll get to watch him when they come to Russellville and some other good teams. So don't sleep on the Cyclones.
One more bit of information that was passed along from Danville. I would like to thank Mr. Trusty for sending along this information. The Danville Little Johns got 31 points from Mr. Trusty's son Jay in a 56-42 win. So the Little Johns looking good, and I'm pretty sure that this Trusty kid is a sophomore because I remember getting junior high information from him, and I believe it was last year. So the Danville Little Johns won on Friday night as well. So that's a big win for them as they took on, Bigelow. And one more game that I really want to get into. Dardanelle had some trouble this week because they played 5 games in 5 nights. I don't know if Coach Sturdivant was just trying to get them used to the tournament grind or what, but they had trouble down the stretch because of how many games they'd played and how few nights of rest. They just didn't get any rest. Their legs were just going nonstop the whole week. The Sand Lizards struggled down the stretch. The game that I wanted to point out was one that happened on Saturday. Pottsville Apaches lost their first game of the year, lost to Conway St. Joseph in the Conway St. Joseph tournament in the finals. Conway St. Joseph is a 2A school. They're actually a 1A school. They don't have football or anything like that, but they're private school, so they get the private school bump to the next classification. And they beat Pottsville, and I'm going to put this in quotation marks since we're not in Conway. Pottsville just got hosed. I mean, it was one of those old school wrestling screw jobs. And I'm not even a Pottsville fan. I mean, I am more than a Conway St. Joseph's fan, but it was ridiculous what happened on Saturday. It was 10 fouls to 3 in the second half, and it was just every time Pottsville went up 10 at the end of the third quarter, and it just started from there where every call went the other way, and it was one of those, we're going to keep them in the game and let them make a play, and they lived on the free throw line in the fourth quarter and overtime. So it was just a tough way to go out, and I really respect Shane Thurman at Pottsville and the way he handled himself and the way he even sent me an email. I was at the game, so I saw what happened, and you wouldn't be able to tell from the email that they just got absolutely jobbed. They weren't happy about it, and they definitely didn't like it, but he was very professional with the way he dealt with it and the fact that he didn't mention it at all. I'll stand here and say, though, that Pottsville, very good team. I really look forward to watching them play this year. Michael Perry and the gang there. They've got 10 guys, Weldon, that they can play. And last year they were 1 game away from making the state tournament. They lost to Berryville, got upset because Berryville just played the slow it down, grind it out game and was able to outlast Pottsville. This year I look for them to make the 4A state tournament.
Yeah, and I like what you said about Coach Thurman and how he approached it and the email he sent to you. No excuses. I mean, that's what you have to have from the top, man, your leadership and your coach. I mean, sure, the foul calls went the wrong way. You could definitely say there was some home cooking, and that's okay for the fans and everybody watching to say, but you can't let excuses go with your team. You can't have it built into their minds that it's okay that if you're not playing well to go blame it on somebody else. I like that precedent. I think that's a mentality that needs to be fostered. I think it'll be something that will help them down the road. So I really like that coaching outlook.
All right, we need you to let us know what you think about the Arkansas coaching search, who you think is the guy. Who's the number 1 target? We've heard some interesting information today that certain people in the media in Northwest Arkansas think that Les Miles was Arkansas's #1 choice. Information I got last night would be directly in conflict with that and would refute that. So I'll give you some information that I got last night, an interesting phone call, and we'll sift through some of this information together. Stay with us on the Sports Blitz.
Don't take anything less.
Set your sights on savings right now at Honda of Russellville. We're offering our best deals of the year on remaining 2012 Honda ATVs, plus special introductory offers on select new 2013 Honda ATVs, all with 0 down and easy monthly payments with approved credit. Be sure to check out the all-new Honda Foreman 4x4, now stronger, smarter, and harder working. How about a side-by-side? Well, Honda's got you covered with the Big Red. Honda's Big Red offers a proven Honda engine, automotive-style Honda automatic transmission with no belts to slip or break. Come in for a test ride today at Arkansas's legendary Honda dealer, Honda of Russellville.
Hello, River Valley. This is Doug Duval with Arkansas's first Rack Furniture Warehouse, where we have the largest selection of recliners and mattresses in the state of Arkansas. Come visit us at 2609 East Parkway, the Rack Furniture Warehouse.
AR Sports present the 2012 River Valley Football Magazine, featuring profiles of local high school football teams, as well as college football previews and player spotlights. Professional photography accompanies top-notch writing throughout to bring you the best locally focused publication in Arkansas. You'll enjoy special tributes to local legends Jerry Aiken and Don Sevier, as well as an exclusive interview with Razorback all-time great Clint Sterner in this year's magazine. Available at fine establishments throughout the River Valley. Pick up your copy of River Valley Football Magazine today.
RiverValleyLeader.com is the #1 local source for instant news in the River Valley, offering HD video and live streaming along with top-notch coverage of all the news and events around the area. The River Valley Leader is the only place to go for all the information you need. Check out the newest local business featured on the site, as well as police news and coverage from important meetings, along with the personal stories, all at one convenient click. Check out RiverValleyLeader.com.
Live from the River Valley Leader Studio, here are your hosts, Mark Freeman and Weldon Braxton.
We've got Arkansas coaching search information coming up in just a moment, but the coaching carousel has already started spinning. It's going to get crazier from here, folks, so we just want you to hold on and prepare for the ride. It's an exciting time. It's kind of a maddening time at points where you don't have a clue who to believe and what to listen to, but there are coaching jobs that are coming open. There are coaching candidates who are moving around, and Arkansas have to get a coach in position. I'm of the opinion that if you want a guy like Chris Peterson, you'd better get him before Chip Kelly decides what he's going to do. And a lot of signs are pointing to him going elsewhere, maybe the NFL. And if especially if guys like Andy Reid don't have a job, I've heard a lot of people say Chip Kelly to the Eagles. If Andy Reid is let go or fired or whatever you want to say, reassigned, it looks like Chip Kelly would be a very high candidate on their list. Then you could see Oregon open, and a guy like Chris Peterson, who Arkansas was looking at, could fill that role. So we're not going to get into all that because that'd take all day long, and then we get into conspiracy theories. But Weldon has got a lot of stuff that happened over the weekend that we need to catch you up on just in case you don't know.
Yeah, first thing, Mark, I think it would be in order for us to congratulate former Arkansas offensive coordinator Paul Petrino.
Yes.
Been named the head coach at Idaho. Obviously, he's familiar with that part of the country. He coached up there with John L. Smith. So, even though things with Coach Petrino didn't turn out great this year, we wish him the best. NC State has hired former Northern Illinois coach Dave Dorian. Of course, if you remember Dave Dorian, he had just won the MAC title a few hours before being named the head coach at NC State. NC State has elevated their offensive line coach, not as the interim, but to be the head coach. I think that's nice for them, having their head coach in place to coach in that Orange Bowl against Florida State. South Florida lets go of Skip Holtz. Mark, I've joked with you all the time about Skip Holtz being an Arkansas candidate. obviously that won't be the case. He's been let go. I think they'll look at some different coaches, even Houston Nutt's name thrown in there. I think they should go back and
Houston Nutt threw his own name in there.
Well, it depends on who you talk to.
I guess it does depend on who you listen to.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with Skip Holtz in South Florida, I think they just need to make up with Jim Leavitt. I think he was a great coach. Had a little incident, that whole player mistreatment thing. We've gotten out of the way with that deal. But Mike Gundy, also at Oklahoma State,
he is gone.
He looks like he may go somewhere. I don't want to just say it officially, but if you heard his teleconference or you saw the transcripts, we've heard coaches not deny things, but his non-denials were just a little too out there. He didn't give me enough. It looks as though he's going somewhere. Tennessee looks to be the favorite, and then as we mentioned earlier, Mark James Franklin, he will be in place at Vanderbilt. I had a feeling things would get done as far as an extension. He just wanted to see more of a commitment from the school. And then I still got to laugh about it. I know you don't think it's funny, but the whole Southwick fake Twitter account saying Chris Peterson was on his way somewhere, it was just a hoax.
Well, it turns out that, and this is why I'm the most upset about that whole Peterson Southwick hoax thing. I didn't look at how many followers he had. He had 40 or 50 followers. He ended up with 150 or so, and they were all Razorback fans because apparently he was just trolling. Well, the point that I thought before I even retweeted it, I went and read the guy's tweets. I didn't look at how many followers he had, but I read some of his tweets. He's talking about his mom, talking about game day. So it seemed like that this guy, it looked legit. So I retweeted it, and I didn't give an endorsement one way or the other. I just said, holy crap, because it seemed like I was just like, wow. And then it turns out that people were saying that he created this fake account. The reason that they say this is because Boise State has imposed a Twitter ban on its players. Right. The guy was tweeting during the season, which would apparently be a big no-no at Boise. The only thing that I could see, he didn't have very many tweets. The only reason that I could see it being true that it was him and that he didn't have a whole lot of followers is because he never tweeted. And, he just tweeted once a month or something. So, if it's fake, oh well. If it's true, oh well. If Chris Peterson, the real only deal is whether Chris Peterson comes to Arkansas or not. So we'll see. And
I don't look at that. I'm just joking around, which I don't look at it. Some people who bought into these outlandish rumors, the Les Miles, the whole Southwick deal, I can understand that. The whole Twitter thing and tweeting about his home and all that stuff, it seemed legit to me. So I just one of those things where, don't feel bad, anybody who bought into it. It's just one of those things, people having fun with the coaching search. A couple other coaching notes. It looks like Colorado is prepared to offer Cincinnati head coach Butch Jones the job. They've been hot on his trail for a while now, and it's possible that Will Muschamp will offer a staff position to former Kentucky head coach Joker Phillips. So nothing official, but it's been out there.
All right, let's look at the Arkansas coaching rumors. And okay, God, this is an all-day conversation. I mean, we could literally talk about this all day long. So we're just going to tease it in the next couple minutes because we got a break. I'm just letting you know ahead of time. I don't want you to get your hopes up that we're going to really break this down and then me say, come back after the break. I got an interesting phone call last night from a guy who seems to be very well connected, and hadn't talked to him in a long time, and he doesn't have any reason to lie to me. He knows that I'm very cynical as far as who I believe and who I don't. So he seems to believe that John Gruden was the number one attempt. He's the number one coaching candidate on Arkansas's radar, and that Jeff Long is making a full court press right now. It's down to Peterson and down to Peterson and John Gruden, and that I'll explain to you here in just a minute why he believes that and exactly what he said. But understand that what we say about other people and what we say about other coaches, not necessarily an endorsement of their sources, because I've got an email, like I said, I joked about having an email into Jeff Long. I asked him straight up, and I want to see if he'll answer or if he'll have one of his lackeys answer and tell me how many people have the information, how many people know. I'm not asking for their names or anything like that. I just want to know how many people in this inner circle know what Jeff Long's going to do. Has he told anybody? even. So, I mean, it's very interesting because we don't know anything, and we don't know that anybody does.
And that will go a long way to clarify for people. If you can find out from Jeff Long or from whoever how many people really know, then that'll tell you the credibility of not just your source, but a lot of sources out there. Because if it's tight-lipped and it's a small number of people, chances are your source at home that you think you have is wrong.
Man, I may have to come back in here and eat some crow. If it turns out that John Gruden's the guy, of course, if it turns out that John Gruden's the guy, there are probably only about 2 guys in Arkansas who won't have to eat crow. Yeah. So we'll see. We're going to talk about my phone call last night. Very interesting turn of events, and it didn't necessarily change my mind, but it gave me something else to chew on. Come back after this.
Today, there are more than 20 brands of cars being sold in America. So to be noticed, Ford and Cogswell Motors have to go further than anyone thought we could. How does Ford stand out above the crowd? Not just with plug-in vehicles like the new 2013 Ford Fusion Energy that gets a projected 100 miles per gallon equivalent, but also with a line of gas vehicles equipped with the innovative EcoBoost engines combining power and efficiency, plus a full measure of technologically advanced features. We invite you to stop into Cogswell Motors today. We go further than anyone thought we could, so that you can go further too.
RiverValleyLeader.com is the #1 local source for instant news in the River Valley, offering HD video and live streaming along with top-notch coverage of all the news and events around the area. The River Valley Leader is the only place to go for all the information you need. Check out the newest local business featured on the site, as well as police news and coverage from important meetings, along with the personal stories, all at one convenient click. Check out RiverValleyLeader.com.
Hello, River Valley. This is Doug Duval again at Arkansas's first rack furniture warehouse, where Leon and I are back in business. We have gallery selection at quality warehouse prices here at the Rack Furniture Warehouse, 2609 East Parkway, Russellville.
Set your sights on savings right now at Honda of Russellville. We're offering our best deals of the year on remaining 2012 Honda ATVs, plus special introductory offers on select new 2013 Honda ATVs, all with 0 down and easy monthly payments with approved credit. Be sure to check out the all-new Honda Foreman 4x4, now stronger, smarter, and harder working. How about a side-by-side? Well, Honda's got you covered with the Big Red. Honda's Big Red offers a proven Honda engine, automotive-style Honda automatic transmission with no belts to slip or break. Come in for a test ride today at Arkansas's legendary Honda dealer, Honda of Russellville. Live from the River Valley Leader Studio, here are your hosts, Mark Freeman and Weldon Braxton.
All right, Sports Blitzers, Mark Freeman, Weldon Braxton back in the studio. We've asked you today, Facebook poll question, with coaching rumors heating up, who do you believe Arkansas will wind up hiring? And a better question, would you rather have Gruden at the rumored $6 million a year or Peterson at the rumored $5 million per year? I'll be very interested to see what people say about that. And also, where's the other question? I had another question. I promise I did.
Bowl game question.
Bowl game. Which one's the most interesting to you? That's it. We were asking what the most interesting bowl game was. Let's read real quickly what you guys have said regarding the coaching rumors. Robert Ash says Bo Pelini. He's a Gators fan, so I think he's just trying to make Arkansas mad because he knows none of us like Bo Pelini. I wouldn't want anything to do with
dropped
him.
On him. I mean,
he did get 70 dropped on him, and I'm not a big Nebraska fan. A little more of a Nebraska fan than I am a Bo Pelini fan, so that tells you where I stand with that. Andrew Rasnick says he thinks both of these, Peterson and Gruden, are great choices, so either one is great with me. Jessica Woo Pig Suey Freeman. That's a name right there. Says Gruden hands down. Robert Ashe did come back and say that he wouldn't make either coach the highest paid coach in college football. I totally agree with that. Gruden hasn't been in college coaching since 1991. A lot has changed in 20 years. And 2, Peterson, while great, hasn't won any national titles. Hard for me to see paying someone on par with Nick Saban that has not won national titles or that does not have national titles to their name. Plus, add the past 2 Boise State coaches failed when they left Dirk Cutter and Dan Hawkins. There was also a Houston Nutt guy who
succeeded.
He did all right. There are no guarantees. Sean Johnson said neither. I think they should make a regular salary $50K a year. Their job isn't that hard. Yeah. Jason Kilburn, oh lordy, he says from a good source they're going to go with an interim coach again next year, hoping to get a better hire. That's not true. Corey Williams says Peterson would be a steal at $5 million. Grant Merrill, the one and only, says Gruden won't happen. He's not interested. Peterson was very close to a done deal as of Thursday, but as we all know, these things can quickly change even after they are hired. Paging Dana Altman. And Marcia Henson says, I just hope we end up with a great coach. Getting concerned that some of the great ones are using the openings as a means to secure more money at their current jobs and will not leave the program they are in. Then will be less coaches for us to choose from. By the way, great ones was not referring to Les Miles, even though he used Jeff Long. I love our fans, man. They're educated. They're not crazy. They're just giving us their opinion and doing a good job of it.
Throwing some good humor in there. All right, I'm going to answer our poll question. I've held out long enough.
Go for it.
It's not even close to answer is Chris Peterson. I would take Chris Peterson over John Gruden any day. First of all, John Gruden has not coached in college football. What did Robert say, since 91?
Yeah.
Okay. People don't understand, I don't think, or they undervalue the difference between coaching professional football and college football. And all the different things that go along with coaching college ball, that really a lot of pro coaches would never want to deal with. I'm talking homesickness, breaking up with your girlfriend, academic issues, NCAA compliance problems, all of these different things, having to go and recruit. John Gruden is a football guy. He gets up before the crack of dawn, he watches tape, he coaches in practice. Guess what he does before bed in the wee hours of the night? Watching football and watching tape and preparing. I already gave you my little comparison, my little scenario next year with him and Brandon Allen. We got Alabama this week. John Gruden calls up Brandon Allen and says, Brandon, Nick Saban's nickel package is pretty fierce. Come down to the facility so we can watch it.
Coach, I got a test in the morning.
Coach, I got a test in the morning. You got a test? No, you ain't got time for a test. We got to watch Nick Saban. That's how it would be with John Gruden. He is not proven, especially at $6 million. And I don't think people understand how you win at Arkansas. You don't recruit 5 stars like Gruden would supposedly do and just win like you do at LSU and Texas and all these other places. I want somebody who's proven to develop 3-star players and playing at a high level. Chris Peterson's done that. John Gruden has not. He's $1 million cheaper.
All right, I'm of the opinion that Chris Peterson, like you said, a lot better value as far as what you'd be spending $1 million less. That's $1 million more that you could spend on assistants and come out even, really. But it'd be very tough for me to turn down a guy like John Gruden if he were able to bring in a great staff at a decent price. If he were, say he were to bring in Butch Davis as a defensive coordinator, you've automatically brought in one of the better recruiters in the country. And some of the rumors and things that I've heard would tend to lean toward Gruden pulling in a pretty good staff if he were to come to coach college football. He wouldn't necessarily have to be the, college. He could be a Pete Carroll type guy. Just oversee things, be the face, go out and recruit with his name and his face and his past success in the NFL and just the fact that everybody knows him. I could see that being good for the University of Arkansas, the only guy that I know that could go in after Nick Saban and say, you know what, I carry not the same amount of clout, but you know who I am, and you want to come play for me. I can see that being a case here.
Expensive, though.
And that's what I'm saying. We would end up, you would end up paying out the wazoo for John Gruden when Chris Peterson, arguably could have more success, has at a college level, and could do it a lot cheaper. So it just depends on the business side. And when it comes to business, there's not many people that I trust more than Jeff Long to make the right business decision.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from. My deal is, I think there's a certain model and there's a certain way you win at Arkansas. Not talking about LSU and these other places. But at Arkansas, I think we've seen you win a certain way by coaching up 3-star players to perform at a higher level, almost what Bobby Petrino did. I think Chris Peterson brings that same model, and I'm just afraid if we get outside of that, it won't work out. That's where I'm coming from.
We've got Jason on the line. Jason, what's on your mind?
Hey, man. How y'all doing today?
Doing well.
Well, I'm going to agree with Weldon on this. Very seldom do I agree with him on things, but I am agreeing with him. And I think I'd rather have Peterson than Gruden. Just for the examples he was saying, I think Peterson's winning percentage in college is I want to say it's 9-12 or something like that. I could be off, but I think it's right around that. And then, Gruden in the NFL, I think his winning percentage is, right around 500. And I know he won that Super Bowl the first year with Tampa, but I think after that he pretty much went downhill after he won that Super Bowl with Tampa. Which, I would be fine with Gruden too, but I definitely would think Peterson would be a better hire than that.
Do you think that the Peterson rumors and the smoke that we've seen, do you think that's leading us to a Peterson hire, or do you think that's covering up something else?
Man, I don't know. I sent you that text message yesterday morning with that Hog Country Online, saying that it was for sure a done deal. It's going to be announced Tuesday. But then by lunchtime, I was thinking, man, I don't think it's Peterson. I think it's Gundy.
Yeah.
Well, then later on that afternoon, I started thinking, well, it might be Peterson again. Well, now this morning, I think it might be Gundy again. So, man, I really don't have a clue. Everybody's, like you were saying earlier, everybody's got a source saying it's this guy, it's that guy, it's this guy, it's that guy. I don't think anybody really knows. And I'm with you. I'd like to, if Long emails you back, I'd really like to know how many people really does know, in his little inner circle, how many people he really does know who the coach might be, or who's even interviewed for the job, or whoever has been offered the job.
Yeah. See, I understand that Jeff Long, there's no way he's going to tell me who he's interviewed, things like that, but it would be very interesting to know how many people. See, because the call that I got last night, and I've alluded to this twice, I need to go ahead and tell it rather than just tease it. The call that I got last night made mention of the fact that this person says he can confirm that there are 7 people who have signed non-disclosure agreements with the University of Arkansas through Jeff Long about these proceedings, and that they won't say anything about what they've been told, what they've heard in these meetings. If that's true, one of two things is happening. Either there are people that know that haven't signed that non-disclosure agreement and are leaking little bits of information. Somebody is lying and breaking their non-disclosure agreement, or this person who told me this is completely crazy. So Jason, I know you know the same thing. You're listening to some of the same people I am. It's just gotten a little out of hand. I don't know if you would agree.
I totally agree with that. Yeah, it's been a freaking circus going on there lately.
Jason, I've been telling Mark, and I'm telling you the same thing because you really need to hear this. These sources, just wash your hands of them. The message boards, it's all garbage. Sit back like me, relax, let everybody else look like a fool, and just enjoy the process.
Well, it's fun. It's fun to be in the middle of the conversation and try to sift through and find out what you believe and who you agree with. And I don't have anything. I don't have anything against listening to people. I just have a problem when people have sources and those sources turn out to be wrong. You're not going to fool me more than once. And there are guys in big media positions who have fooled us more than once to getting us to believe. So exactly, I'm in the same position. And Jason, although I'm kind of in the same situation you are, where I'm sifting through this and trying to find out what I believe and who I agree with, it's kind of hard not to get into it and say, I just wash my hands of it altogether.
Right, I totally agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that wholeheartely, because you don't know who to trust, who not to trust, who really does know, who doesn't know. It's just
exactly.
It's actually crazy what's all been going on. But my fear is, my thinking is, I thought we would know something either today or tomorrow. Now, if it goes beyond tomorrow, now this is just my opinion, I think that that Peterson's probably said no, Patterson, Gundy, Gruden. You just named some of the the bigger name coaches that that's been in the rumor of being the head coach, that they've all turned us down and we're at the plan C or plan D or whatever.
I agree.
I think we need to like Franklin, for example. I thought for sure, I had a source saying that, and that was from a board of trustees' son, was telling me that Franklin's was the guy. Well, we come to find out now, he's not the guy. So I just hope Arkansas doesn't wait too long, waiting on, say, Peterson or Gundy or whatever, and they tell us no, and now all the coaches that we were going to be after have already went on to different places, and now we're back down to C or D or whatever plan is after that. And what I wish they would do was, if everybody's going to keep telling us no, just go ahead and offer Gus Malzahn the job and get it over with.
I wouldn't be too opposed to that. I'd rather have. I'll just say this for the record. I'd rather have Gus Malzahn than Mike Gundy. That's just my opinion. A lot of people don't agree with that, but I would rather have Gus Malzahn than Mike Gundy.
I think I would probably agree with that too. One thing, Malzahn's teams are going to be disciplined. They're going to, they're going to be right in their formations. They're going to play hard, and his teams play defense. Even though everybody talks about how good his offense always is. If you look at Arkansas State's defense this year, it's been pretty good. So I think Malzahn would be a great hire.
Well, I don't know how far down the list he is. Thank you, Jason, for the call. We'll continue to talk about this. Call us back anytime.
All right, appreciate it, guys.
All right.
I don't know how far down the list Gus Malzahn is. I hope, honestly, that we don't have to get that far down the list because he would, for all the good he would do, there would be a divide in the fan base that I don't know that anybody really wants to deal with.
It would be a silly divide. But here's my issue with the hiring. If you get rejected by Peterson, Patterson, Gruden, all the A-list names, and you have to go somewhere else, I'd rather you go for a younger, innovative, up-and-coming hire than a mediocre Tommy Tuberville-like hire.
Oh, absolutely.
Either you get a A-list home run guy or you go young and innovative, which, of course, would be Gus Malzahn at the top of that young, innovative list. I just don't want anything in the middle like a Bo Pelini, somebody like that, and all we had to settle for him. He's got some experience. No, go young. If it blows up, fine. If it's a success, great. But it beats going 7-5, 8-4, 3-4 straight years.
Man, I could not agree more. We're going to hit our last break, and we'll come back and finish up for the day. Thank you for joining us today on the Sports Blitz. We really enjoyed this whole conversation, having you along.
Hello, River Valley. This is Doug Duval with Arkansas's first Rack Furniture Warehouse, where we have the largest selection of recliners and mattresses in the state of Arkansas. Come visit us at 2609 East Parkway, the Rack Furniture Warehouse.
Set your sights on savings right now at Honda of Russellville. We're offering our best deals of the year on remaining 2012 Honda ATVs, plus special introductory offers on select new 2013 Honda ATVs, all with zero down and easy monthly payments with approved credit. Be sure to check out the all-new Honda Foreman 4x4, now stronger, smarter, and harder working. How about a side-by-side? Well, Honda's got you covered with the Big Red. Honda's Big Red offers a proven Honda engine, automotive-style Honda automatic transmission with no belts to slip or break. Come in for a test ride today at Arkansas's legendary Honda dealer, Honda of Russellville.
Hello, River Valley. This is Doug Duval again at Arkansas's first Rack Furniture Warehouse, where Leon and I are back in business. We have gallery selection at quality warehouse prices here at the Rack Furniture Warehouse, 2609 East Parkway, Russellville.
Today, there are more than 20 brands of cars being sold in America. So to be noticed, Ford and Cogswell Motors have to go further than anyone thought we could. How does Ford stand out above the crowd? Not just with plug-in vehicles like the new 2013 Ford Fusion Energy that gets a projected 100 miles per gallon equivalent, but also with a line of gas vehicles equipped with the innovative EcoBoost engines combining power and efficiency, plus a full measure of technologically advanced features. We invite you to stop into Cogswell Motors today. We go further than anyone thought we could, so that you can go further too.
Live from the River Valley Leader Studio, here are your hosts, Mark Freeman and Weldon Braxton.
Before we get to the college football bowls, we know you're interested to hear those. Couple little things to pass along. The NFL season has really been interesting. Lots of things that draw our attention, and we'll on Wednesday give you our power rankings, as we always do, our top 5 NFL power rankings. just some stuff that just jumps out off the page to me. Adrian Peterson has 1,446 rushing yards. He's got 300 yards more than the closest competitor. Yesterday, he had 200 yards and averaged 10 yards a carry. A first down literally every time that's Reggie Bush in college numbers. First down every time he touched the ball. He looks to be the MVP. I think that it's probably going to be down to he and Peyton Manning for MVP, because it looks like Peyton Manning's going to end up rolling out about 10 or 12 wins in a row to end the season. Just an incredible performance from both of those guys. Weldon, we talked a couple weeks ago about those guys being Comeback Player of the Year nominees, and really it turns out that they're MVP nominees.
They have. Adrian Peterson, athletically, he's a freak of nature. We know that. It's just a shame that the team around him isn't all that great. And, of course, Peyton Manning. I mean, Tampa Bay gave him problems early. That defense threw some looks at him. Peyton Manning went back to the locker room. He got it figured out in typical Peyton Manning fashion. But we're getting close to the playoffs, and we're seeing races take shape. The Seattle Seahawks got a huge road win at Chicago. The Dallas Cowboys, they're staying alive in the playoff race as well. You mentioned Andrew Luck, the way he won at the last second against the Detroit Lions, impressive. But what about Charlie Batch going on the road to Baltimore, defeating the Ravens? Just another mentally tough effort from a Mike Tomlin coach team. And, of course, tonight you've got the Washington Redskins hosting the New York Giants, playoff implications. So NFL, it's heating up. Playoff races are in full swing. We're starting to see who's a pretender and who's for real.
Our Cowboys got a 38-33 win over Philadelphia. Looks like a half game if you're looking at the playoff predictions and seedings, but I think it's a full game because of the fact that Seattle is the team above them and they own the tiebreaker over Dallas. So they've got a chance. Just like we said, the Giants win the division. Dallas gets the wild card. Philadelphia's left holding the bag and firing coaches left and right. So they've actually named a new starting quarterback. Nick Foles is going to keep the job the rest of the year, so that's interesting. Another most interesting thing about the NFL this season is the Rookie of the Year conversation. Right. RG3, Andrew Luck. RG3 plays tonight, but Andrew Luck throws a touchdown pass on the last play of the game. I tweeted last night that the day Peyton Manning retires, Andrew Luck will be my favorite player. Yeah,
you certainly can't deny what Andrew Luck has done. It's just exciting to see both of these rookies. They're always going to be compared to one another. Who's better, who's this and that. I'm glad they're both playing at a high level so we don't have to say, oh, so-and-so is a tank and this guy's great. I think they're going to be great for years to come. But, we're not going to get into it. But quarterback controversies, obviously the Jets, they pretty much look like a high school team on offense. It's embarrassing the fact that they were awarded with the victory. Now we don't know who's going to start for them. And then Colin Kaepernick, San Francisco 49er quarterback, he struggled. I believe Jim Harbaugh will stick with him, but of course that Alex Smith cloud is hanging over it, so we'll see how that team does. Of course, they're a Super Bowl team. They're not like the Jets. They're trying to play for a Super Bowl, so let's see what they do.
If we can get to it on Wednesday, if we're not talking about a new Arkansas Razorback head football coach, I want to give you my quarterback philosophy in the NFL and what I think about how long you should wait on quarterbacks to develop, because I've come up with something in the last night I was just thinking about it as I was thinking about Andrew Luck and thinking about RG3 and some of these quarterbacks who have come in and had success so early. I'll give you that on Wednesday, so that's a deep tease there. I'm giving it to you 2 days in advance. Let's look at the college football bowl scene. Last night they had the BCS Bowl special. They looked at all the bowls. As expected, Alabama and Notre Dame in the national championship game.
Yeah, certainly. Of course, Alabama won that dramatic SEC title game over Georgia. Came down to virtually the last play. Georgia had a chance to win, but I think it'll be a fun physical matchup in the national title game. And you mentioned the BCS selection show. A lot of controversy about the BCS rules. Of course, you only can have 2 teams per conference. Not a good year to have that if you're the SEC. You've got A&M, LSU, Georgia, South Carolina, all 10-win teams left out of it. I told you earlier, the Peach Bowl really benefited from this. Instead of having a 7-5, 8-4 SEC team, you get a 10-win LSU team against a 10-win Clemson team.
You said Peach Bowl.
It used to be the Peach Bowl.
I knew when you said it, I thought that's right, and then I was like, wait, no, they changed the name. Yeah, it's the Chick-fil-A Bowl.
They changed it so much. Chick-fil-A Bowl, Burger King Bowl.
Yeah, it's not the Weed Eater Bowl anymore.
The bowl they play down there in Atlanta that usually has 2 mediocre teams. Now they have 2 solid teams.
10-2 teams.
Cotton Bowl, of course, benefits. You get an old Big 12 matchup with A&M and Oklahoma.
I look forward to that one.
It's just a lot of fun matchups. Big controversy. Northern Illinois got in. They were ahead of one automatic qualifying school, so they were able to get the BCS Bowl berth. They play a Florida State team that, my Lord, is just overrated. I mean, they just are. The way Georgia embarrassed Georgia Tech, I figured off Florida State. They're going to run Georgia Tech off the field. The Yellow Jackets had the ball with a chance to win that game, the ACC title game, an embarrassment. I think they'll win that game against Northern Illinois. Wouldn't shock me if Northern Illinois won, though.
Looking at the BCS games, I don't think there are very many of them that are that interesting. I don't like the Northern Illinois Florida State game. I don't like Louisville, Florida. I mean, I see the compelling storylines there. I think Florida's going to destroy them. Wisconsin, Stanford. I know Wisconsin just hung 70 on Nebraska, but that game to me looks like it's going to be an hour and a half long, just running. That's it. Mm-hmm. I do like the Fiesta Bowl, Oregon, Kansas State. That one interests me. Obviously, Alabama, Notre Dame, especially after Alabama struggled the way they did on defense. I know we have to give Georgia a lot of credit. They played very well, had a chance to win the game, and it wasn't off necessarily a lot of fluke stuff. It was just grinded out. Mm-hmm. Gurley, the running back's a freshman. He's a beast. I do think that Notre Dame's offense is going to struggle against Alabama. You give Nick Saban a month to prepare for anybody, and it's trouble. So I expect that Alabama's going to win that game, and SEC is going to get its 7th straight. But it's a little more compelling than I thought it was going to be.
No, it is. Looking in from a month out.
There are some other games, like you said, the Chick-fil-A Bowl, the 10-2 LSU versus 10-2 Clemson. That one is going to be a fun game. And just some other ones. Even the GoDaddy.com Bowl. Arkansas State 9-3 won the Sun Belt again. Kent State looking at, on Friday they're talking about Kent State possibly busting the BCS, and instead it's Northern Illinois and Kent State slides at 11-2 to the GoDaddy.com Bowl. That one's going to be a very interesting game. So I just look forward to some of these games a lot more than others.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I'm just looking through here. South Carolina seems like for the 85,000th time they're back in the Outback Bowl. I mean,
you said before the show they should just say from now on we are not going to that bowl.
I mean, you see this sometimes. I heard that if Kansas State had lost and Oklahoma won that Big 12 BCS slot, they would probably switch and not go back to the Fiesta Bowl because they've been so much. I just think that's good. South Carolina, maybe it's just my imagination, but it feels like every year they're in the Outback Bowl against somebody from the Big Ten. But this national championship game, I just want to go back to that because I think it'll be better than what people think. I think certainly Nick Saban with time to prepare, you don't want to face anybody else like him. But I want to see what Brian Kelly does. Because Brian Kelly didn't fall off a turnip truck either. This man can flat out coach. And I think what he's going to try to do is he's going to see if he can use Everett Golston's athleticism and spread Alabama out more than what he did during the season. Nick Saban's no dummy either. He's going to anticipate that as well. A very physical, solid chess match between a very good offensive coach and a very good defensive coach. I think it's going to be a pretty fun national championship game.
All right, we don't have a whole lot of time, so we'll get back to that on Wednesday. We need to switch gears real quickly. This is not the most smooth of transitions, but we need to talk about the Arkansas Razorback basketball team. Played very close to 6th-ranked Syracuse, 91-82 loss by the Razorbacks. It was a almost packed out, nearly capacity crowd at Bud Walton Arena. The whiteout worked. Real quickly, though, before I forget, Rick Majerus, like to wish his family some condolences as well because one of the great coaches and one of the great personalities in college basketball history passed away this weekend, heart failure. It's a tough one. I really liked Rick Majerus.
I did, too. Of course, you remember he took Utah to the national championship game in '98 where they lost to Kentucky. Really built St. Louis up. I mean, nobody even knew who St. Louis was. Last year, they beat Memphis in the first round of the tournament. They gave Michigan State a hard time. So certainly Coach Majerus will be missed. His contributions on and off the court were significant.
Well, let's look at the Hog basketball game. For those of you that didn't get to watch it, it was a fun game for the Hogs, but as is the case a lot of times when you play against a good team, you'll have somebody who'll jump up and bite you, and that guy was Sutherland for Syracuse. He had 9 threes to tie a Syracuse record. B.J. Young, 25 points. Marshawn Powell with 7 rebounds to lead the Hogs. But James Sutherland with 35 points, 6 rebounds, and a block. Just really beat Arkansas nearly by himself. There were a couple moments where guys like Brandon Trish or Michael Carter-Williams made differences in the game, but it just seemed like every time they needed a basket, James Sutherland was got to make it.
Yeah, I really have mixed emotions about this game because I know a lot of people look at Arkansas closing that margin, being in that game in the second half, and we kind of look at it as a moral victory. I don't think Arkansas played well at all. I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, offensively, we got stagnant a lot against that zone.
Shot 38%.
Shot 38%.
20% from three.
Yeah, 20% from three against that zone. You know we can't do that. Defensively, I thought we had some breakdowns. So you can look at it. Arkansas didn't play well from my standpoint. We were still in that game against a top 10 team. But at the same time, I do want to see some improvements. There are some individuals who I will not call by name, but they are sophomores and they wear 00 that need to improve. They're not living up to their billing, and he's not the only one. A lot of people, Ricky, Scott, Wade, they've got to improve if Arkansas wants to be a good basketball team.
Yeah, we won't necessarily spend a lot of time calling out individuals, but I will say there were some things that I liked and some things that I didn't like. Anytime you can force 19 turnovers, be +5 in the turnover margin, you like that. Anytime you can be +12 in the free throw attempts margin, that's a big deal. Arkansas shot 29 of 36, 80%. From the free throw line, but they were 5 of 24 from three, only 20% against that zone. That's what teams are going to do to Arkansas. They're going to pack it in, say, BJ Young, we're going to keep you out of the paint. Everybody else, you're going to just have to knock down shots, and that's going to be a problem if you got guys like Antoine Bell and Mardrakus Wade who can't hit.
Yeah,
so they're going to have to come up big in those situations. Anytime, though, that you can shoot 20% from three and 38% for the game and still be in the game against a top 10 team, there are some things that you can glean from this and really like going forward. You just have to hope that this is the exception and not the rule.
Yeah, certainly. And I look at this Arkansas team, I think we have to be able to attack zone defense. You touched on it. With our inability to hit shots, we're going to see a lot of zone. And I was a little disappointed the way we attacked or didn't attack it. I think late first half, we finally started driving the gaps between, the 1 and the 4 and the 2 and the 3 holes and really getting some drive and kick opportunities. But took way too long to figure out. I want to see that addressed. I do want to congratulate a couple former Razorback football players. Tyler Wilson signing with CAA Sports as far as his representation. They also represent Peyton Manning and a lot of other quarterbacks. And then Chris Gregg signing with Joel Siegel, who's a very reputable agent in the NFL.
All right, we're getting out of here. But before we do, we need to pass this along. We try to do a better job of giving out everybody's information, whatever they send us via Facebook. Gary Morrison Sr. answered the poll question today about Peterson and Gruden and said he would be for either, but every win less than 10 per year, they give up $1 million of their contract. That's funny. And then Clint Papasan said, yeah, we've created a monster, put incentive-based pay on the table, base salary plus bonuses for more than 8 wins, conference title, national title, top 20, top 10, conference title game win, bowl game win, do away with base of huge money.
Coaches don't like that.
Yeah, I was going to say the problem is what you're going to end up doing is paying them the huge base salary and then those bonuses that you're talking about for winning. So that's what will end up happening, and that's the bottom line. But yeah, I'm agreeing with those guys. It's the numbers are getting kind of out of hand. You're going to end up with guys making $10-12 million a year to coach. So that's just crazy. But well, we're out of time for this Monday. We will be back on Wednesday unless Arkansas names a new coach. We're going to try our best to provide you a breaking news show so you can vent your feelings if you're upset, and you can tell us how happy you are if Arkansas hires the guy you wanted. We'll try to do that if the name comes out at a decent time and it works for us. So we're be back on Wednesday nonetheless, 11 o'clock. So come back and join us. We'd love to have you here on the Sports Blitz. For Weldon, I'm Mark. So long. We'll see you guys on Wednesday.
I know you think that it ain't too far.